Where's the drive?
Got it here somewhere. It's just hard to see.
Is that it?
The Gray Man was one of those big Netflix swings that got people talking. Directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, it landed in 2022 with Ryan Gosling playing Court Gentry, better known as Sierra 6. It was an expensive, action-packed spy thriller about a CIA assassin who finds himself hunted by a completely unhinged ex-agent played with relish by Chris Evans. While critics weren't exactly lining up with glowing reviews, audiences showed up in a big way, making it one of Netflix's works. And that's how talk of The Gray Man 2 really began. Now, a fresh update has stirred the pot. A WSJ magazine profile on Gosling revealed that he isn't currently in talks to return as 6. That doesn't mean he won't be back, though. What it really signals is that the project is still early in development, and those kinds of negotiations often happen later. But it did get people wondering if the sequel might head in a different creative direction, maybe focusing on a different character while still living in the same universe. The Russos have already said they're working on concepts they feel fit the right direction for the story. Joe Russo even pointed out they're looking at where to take the character of 6 next, which sounds promising. That alone makes it pretty clear their plan is still centered on continuing Court Gentry's journey, and considering he's the star of all the original Mark Greaney novels, it would be hard to imagine the Gray Man without him. Gosling is the heart of the franchise, and his cool, quiet style as 6 makes the action work on more than just a surface level. Even so, let's play out the possibilities. If for some reason Gosling couldn't return, Netflix does have options. They could try recasting the role, although that would definitely be a jolt for fans, since Gosling has already made the character his own. Another possibility would be pivoting to a spin-off or a more spiritual sequel. Someone like Ana de Armas, who stood out as Danny Miranda, could absolutely step into a bigger spotlight. She was one of the best parts of the first film, and her character already feels like someone you'd want to follow on her own missions. Or the Russos could even introduce a brand new character to anchor the second film, letting 6's story remain in the background for now. But still, considering all the hints and updates, the strongest bet is that they'll aim to keep Gosling front and center. It helps to look at the bigger picture too. Netflix has been trying to build its own line of action franchises for years. They've had some success with Red Notice, starring Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds, which is expected to stretch into a trilogy. Then there's the Extraction series, led by Chris Hemsworth, which has already confirmed a third movie and even has a TV spin-off in the works. That's the kind of universe Netflix wants for The Gray Man as well. And since they spent around $200 million on the first movie, it's clear they were always banking on a long-term plan. That's why the second film feels so important. It's not just about proving that The Gray Man wasn't a one-time splash, it's about showing that the world of Sierra 6 has staying power. Even with some bumps in reviews, Netflix saw the huge viewership numbers, and that's what matters most in streaming. So there's no reason to think they're walking away now. When Anthony Russo was recently asked about where things stand, he confirmed there's still real interest in moving forward with The Gray Man 2. The biggest hurdle right now, according to him, isn't enthusiasm, but scheduling. Between Gosling's busy lineup, he's linked to Sean Levy's standalone Star Wars film, among other projects, and the Russos' own commitments with massive Marvel films like Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Finding a window that works for everyone is tricky, but interest is there, and that's half the battle. Looking back, the first movie helps make sense of why the sequel matters. The Gray Man ended with 6 surviving the relentless pursuit of Chris Evans' psychotic Lloyd Hanson and ultimately exposing corruption within the CIA. But that finale didn't exactly tie everything up neatly. In fact, it left the door wide open for more. 6 might have shaken off Hanson, but the CIA itself, especially characters like Suzanne Brewer, still had him firmly in their sights. Brewer's manipulations, along with the agency's willingness to sacrifice him, laid the groundwork for plenty of conflict in the next chapter. The sequel could easily dive deeper into 6's battle against a system that views him as disposable, which makes the story much more personal and layered than just another action shootout. So the stage is already set for The Gray Man 2 to expand the world. It can explore how 6 continues to fight while still protecting Claire, the niece of his mentor who became his anchor by the end of the first film. Their bond gives him a human side that balances out the brutal missions, and continuing that dynamic could make the sequel even more engaging. And if you think about it, that thread also leaves the door cracked for a third movie. If The Gray Man 2 dives into Six's ongoing struggle with Brewer and the CIA, then a third film could escalate into a full-blown war against the institution that created him. That's the kind of long arc that makes sense for a franchise. It's also worth remembering that Mark Greaney's book series spans over a dozen novels. That means Netflix doesn't have to invent a whole new roadmap. They can pull from stories already proven to work with readers. Each book builds Six's world bigger and more dangerous, and if the filmmakers are smart, they'll use that to keep the sequels fresh. A second film can explore one part of his journey while planting seeds for a third, making it all feel connected without being repetitive. Now, some might worry about the delays or the uncertainty around Gosling, but delays don't mean defeat. A bunch of big franchises take time to sort out their next moves. Look at how long it can take between Marvel films, or how Mission Impossible movies are often stretched years apart. What matters is the commitment to getting it right. With the Russos still involved and Netflix still invested, the sequel has every reason to happen, even if it takes a bit longer than fans hoped. The upside is that extra time gives them space to really refine the story. The first film already showed they can deliver scale, but the sequel could lean harder into character and stakes. Since the ending teed up Brewer as a powerful force standing in Six's way, the next movie has a natural villain and a strong emotional thread. And from there, a third movie could really explode the story outward, showing Six not just running from the system, but actively tearing it down. That kind of progression makes for a trilogy people will want to stick with. And let's not overlook Netflix's need for this franchise. With other big projects like Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead universe being scaled back and Rebel Moon's future looking uncertain, The Gray Man has a real chance to step up as the streamer's flagship action series. That alone makes it more likely Netflix will fight to keep Gosling and the Russos on board, because they've already proven people will tune in. So while there are still a few bumps in the road, the direction feels clear. The Gray Man 2 is coming, and it's shaping up to be a crucial step in building Netflix's next big action universe. Gosling's return might not be locked in yet, but the story is clearly meant to continue his journey as Six. And since the first film left so much on the table, from Brewer's manipulations to Six's role as Claire's protector, the sequel practically writes itself. Better yet, those threads naturally set up a third movie, giving the franchise the kind of momentum Netflix has been chasing. In the end, The Gray Man wasn't just a one-off action flick. It was the beginning of something bigger. The second movie is the key to proving that, and if it leans into the storylines already in place, it'll not only bring fans back, but also build the foundation for a powerful third chapter. That's why, even with a few uncertainties, it feels like this franchise is only just getting started. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon, and other exciting upcoming movies and series. We'll see you next time.